Hello, hello. Welcome back to Finding Spirit with Tabs. I'm your host, Tabs McCaffrey, and I'm a developing medium here in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. On this show, I share my own personal journey as I grow and develop my psychic medium abilities and truly sharing everything and anything spiritually related. I'm so happy to be walking this path with you and learning about spirituality. I really want this to be an open space and a safe space where we can discuss things and kind of change our belief systems or grow and expand our belief systems. So welcome if you are new, welcome back if you're returning. I never like to beat around the bush. I just like to get right into the episodes. And today's episode I'm really excited to talk about because I feel like I have a lot to share on this topic. It's something that I feel quite knowledgeable in, I guess. I want to say I feel knowledgeable, but I'm sure I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg. I really am early in my journey. I'm about a year now, just over a year into my journey of discovering I'm a medium, tuning into my psychic abilities, connecting with my spirit guides and my spirit team. But I have been provided so much guidance in the last year that I do feel like I can talk about this topic. And I just want to say it's really hard sometimes to do content on things when you don't feel like an expert. And I think that's my own limiting belief, is that I have to know everything to talk about it. But I think the whole premise of this show is more just opening the discussion, starting to think about these things. And we don't have to know everything and have every answer to be able to discuss any of these topics. So without further ado, let's dive into the Spirit Guides episode. If you are curious on what they are, how do you connect, and how can you work with them in your own life? Okay, so this is going to be a great episode, lots of information. I know this will help you along the way. I'm also going to be sharing my own personal experiences and how these things happen, how I've worked on this, and how I work with them in my life. At the end, I share a really fun story. It's kind of wild as I look back a year later, but this was probably the first time where I truly trusted them and went to them, and it all started with Jeff suggesting. So stay tuned at the end for that story. All right, what is the definition of spirit guides? So for me, it's spirit guides, spirit team. They kind of encapsulate together. You may have separate definitions, but this is how I use them. So I like to view them as spiritual mentors that are capable of offering guidance. Now, they are not future telling. They're not going to tell you the future, and they don't like to make decisions for you. But what they can do is give you that broader perspective to help you make the decisions for yourself. I do think that if you are going to your spirit guides and they are telling you future things, I just am not convinced that's your spirit guides, because that's not really what they're about. But I'm not here to split spirituality or to define what everything is. It's whatever works in your life. But I do think that when you go to them, you're asking for guidance and the ability to make the decision, not going to them to make the decision for you. Just want to put that one out there. So who can be types of spirit guides? Who can be on your spirit team? Ancestors, past loved ones. So I believe that my grandpa, my mom, and Jeff's mom are on my spirit team. I can connect with them individually, and their energies feel very different as well. Your spirit team can also have teachers and mentors, and these tend to be ones that you don't know in your current life. They can be spirits that have not incarnated, but chose to help others on their life's journey. So many times you will not know these as people that have passed in your life. They are going to be just teachers and mentors that are there. And then I also think that there's like energy-based or archetypal guides, and these could be religion or cultural-based archetypes. So some people will talk about Archangel Michael, or depending on your religious and cultural beliefs, you'll have different archetypes, I guess, that you will feel that presence in your life, and that's totally fine. These are just various energies that can be on your spirit team or spirit guides that you are reaching out to talk to. What is their role in our lives? Like, how do they help us? What is their purpose? Let's break this down a little bit. Their role is providing direction, comfort, and insight, not about controlling or predicting the future. They are about letting you experience it here on earth and experiencing your human life. They want to see you kind of work through everything that you signed up for. I like to ask mine for help in mediumship reading to help bridge between spirits and myself. I do believe they help spirits know how to communicate with me, what abilities work best, but I do think that my spirit team helps facilitate this. And I always ask them to step in and assist when I'm having troubles matching frequency. I will ask my spirit team to step in and help me. I think their purpose is to provide, again, that direction, the comfort, and the insight to us. I get asked often, how do you connect to your spirit guides? Like, can you explain this in simple terms? Some common misconceptions: they don't appear dramatically like a bright light or long wispy hair. It's more of like a subtle, intuitive connection. I can feel their energy kind of shift around me. Usually the vibration or the frequency starts to go a little bit quicker, and that's how I can tell when there's other energies around, especially when it's the spirit team or spirit in a mediumship reading. That energy just kind of quickens, I would say. I usually also feel very happy and positive emotions when I'm connecting with them. Now, sometimes they can come in more of a serious tone, depending on the situation and how we're connecting, like what is the circumstances around the situation that we're connecting over. But generally, I feel very positive, very happy. I get a smile on my face, and it's like a little rush of why can't I think of it, like happy juice is what I want to call it. Oh my gosh, I'm just brain farting right now. But yeah, that's how I would describe connecting with them. Now, everyone feels and experiences this differently. I don't see like this apparition coming in front of me and they're like, oh, it's so nice to see you. It's not like that for me. It's just higher frequency, higher energy, and then the communication opens between myself and them. Some practical techniques. I'm all about practical information, grounded, centered information, things that everyone can apply into their life to experience spirituality or grow their spirituality. And the number one way that I always recommend when trying to connect to your spirit team, spirit guides, is through meditation or quiet moments. These are the best for just being able to listen. This is where you can clear your mind. I like to use guided meditation music, or I should stipulate, when I first started, I would use guided meditation music or guided meditations to meet your spirit guides or to talk with your spirit guides. And a lot of times those guided meditations on YouTube will walk you through relaxing, leading you up, sensing your spirit guides there, and giving you that opportunity to have the conversation. Once you get good at connecting and you understand how it works, it's time to take off the training wheels. So I always like to say, once you understand it, try and get away from the guided meditations and doing it on your own. This would be just putting on meditation music. This can be like flutes, raindrops. There's so many out there. Again, I always use YouTube to find good meditation music, things that I resonate with, and just getting into that relaxed state. Once I'm in the relaxed state, I will just start speaking, and usually I can kind of feel when they step into the conversation. Now, if you struggle with meditation and guided meditations, another way that you could access them is while you're doing tasks. So this might be, washing dishes, folding laundry, sweeping the floor, driving. I hate to say driving because you don't want to be distracted while you're driving. But if you have tried it, you know that it's just, to me, like having a conversation with someone in the vehicle while I'm driving. It really doesn't distract me from what I'm doing, but you can connect also while doing tasks. And what this allows you to do is just kind of get your brain quiet. I think it would be really challenging if you were listening to, loud music, or there was a lot going on around you. If your surroundings are really loud or there's a lot of noises, I would recommend putting in some noise canceling headphones, or maybe getting some earplugs just to be able to drown out the outside noise. Eventually you'll work to the point where that doesn't affect you and that doesn't affect your communication. You'll be able to communicate anywhere at any time with anything going around you. But at the beginning, it can be a little bit challenging. So I think those are some basic techniques that you can start with. Another way is journaling. Journaling is such an easy way to ask questions and allow information to come through. Allow the thoughts to flow. I will put on some meditation music or just like calm my mind, and then I'll just put pen to paper and write my first question down. This you will experience as kind of like thoughts flowing. It'll feel a little bit like maybe talking with yourself, except it's talking to you. It's actually like two separate conversation, like two separate people in the conversation. That's the best way I can describe it. And I want you to write down all the thoughts that start coming through your mind. Write them down. And at first you might feel like, oh, is this me? And is this me? But ignore those thoughts and keep writing, and eventually you'll get to the point where you'll feel like, oh, this is flowing, right? If you struggle with this one as well and this doesn't work well for you, then I have one more way that you can start to tune in, and it's paying attention to signs and synchronicities. This may appear as like repeating numbers, so noticing when your phone is 111 or 222, or the microwave or the stove or license plates. You may also start to pick up on symbolism in your life. Sudden dreams, gut feelings, like gut nudges, when you're like, I have like a feeling about this, or I have a feeling I should call someone specific, and they phone you, the next day. Those are things that I want you to start tuning into. And when you start tuning into those, acknowledging them, you'll find that they start to happen more and more. And then you may find it easier to do the journaling, because a big part of learning to connect with our spirit guides or our spirit team is actually trusting what's coming through, right? You got to trust what's coming through. And that can be a really hard part. So that's going to take me into this next section, and it's patience and trust. Remain patient and trust when things come through. Remain patient and trust when things come through. Stop asking for a signier sign. If I could give you any advice, if you took anything actually from this video, that would be number one. Stop asking for a signier sign. If you're reaching out to a past loved one or your spirit guide, spirit team, when they give you a sign, accept it. That is for you. Don't question it. The more times you accept and acknowledge it, the more they will start to come through. I promise. Imagine trying to help a friend that declines your help every single time. You just stop offering, right? You just stop offering. Now, I want you to think about that with your spirit team and spirit guides. And I'm not saying they give up on you, because they definitely don't. But if they're trying to reach out to you, and you're not acknowledging or accepting or trusting what's coming through, they start to step back because you're not ready then. Right? So part of being ready for this is accepting, trusting, and acknowledging what comes through. You need to trust the little nudges, the little gut instincts, right? They want you to pick up on these things. So if you get a gut instinct and you're always like, is it, should I, is that true? Just start trusting those gut instincts. Your brain will trick you. Your brain will play tricks. Your gut is telling you the truth. That's a hard one. And I think when you start to trust it and use it, you know that that's true. And your brain stops holding, I think, the same power over you as it has probably previously in your life. So yeah, trust your gut. Your mind will often lead you to the wrong choices. A big part of connecting with your spirit team or spirit guides is getting knowledge from them, is being able to apply it into your life. And I like to think of everyday applications. Ask for clarity when making decisions, not future telling things. For example, before I bought a vehicle this year, Jeff told me to ask my guides, to talk with them. He was looking for a yes or no answer, but I'm going to share the story at the end. And it really wasn't about a yes or no answer, but it's going to them and asking for guidance, help with these decisions. And that's a really big decision, but that's 6 months into my journey of trusting and doing intuitive work. When you start out, maybe it's picking your outfit. What should I wear? What feels more aligned with me today? Maybe someone calls you and asks, hey, you want to go for a coffee quick? You could go to your spirit team and ask, is this aligned with me today? Should I be going? Trust what comes through. They may say no. You may get that gut feeling. You're like, no, not today. And then you'll find out later that you needed to be home for a delivery or something else that was happening. And you'll be like, good thing I didn't go out, right? When you start to trust the no's, you'll understand there's a reason why my gut is telling me no on this thing. Pay attention to the feelings, pay attention to what yeses and no's mean. And you can start with things that you already know the answer to. Ask things that you know, and then when you get the yes, which is the confirmation of what you already know, okay, that's what it feels like. Then you're going to test and you're going to ask questions where you know the answer is no, and you're going to feel that gut feeling and you're going to know what no's mean. When I started doing mediumship, that was actually something that I would do. When I would go to spirit to ask a question, a lot of times I can get gender really quickly, but sometimes the relationship can be a little bit harder. And I'll be like, are you a mother? No. Okay, an aunt? No. Oh, cousin. And then I'll feel that yes. So even when I go to spirit in readings, I can tell between a yes and a no when I'm asking them questions. And that's another way that you can apply that. But eventually you won't have to think about it as much. You're going to know that intuition is like a muscle, right? You got to work it out for it to get stronger. And the more you use it, the more you utilize it in your life, the stronger that muscle gets and the easier it becomes. And eventually you just won't think about it in the same way. It'll just come more naturally. You'll start to live more intuitively. And another thing, I just got to add this is kind of like a clause in it. Don't always go to your spirit guides for everything. They want you to use free will. They want you to figure these things out. So it's okay to go to them here and there. But once you develop the relationship and you start to understand how all of this works, I encourage you to go inside yourself. I encourage you to go into your own intuition instead of reaching out to spirit team and spirit guides. So I do hear often where people, every decision they're making, they're going to their spirit team or spirit guides, which there's nothing wrong with that. But ultimately you want to work towards trusting your own intuition and your own inner guidance, right? I think working with them helps you build that discernment between yeses and nos, rights and wrongs, bigger perspectives. And then once you start to understand and they've taught you how to see these things, you're able to apply them more on your own. And that's really where you start to grow and evolve and live aligned with your spirituality. And then balance, right? Spirit guides offer guidance, but you have to take the actions. When you receive guidance, I encourage you to use it and apply it, because I think it's the same rule as not acknowledging the signs. If you don't listen to them when they give you advice, they kind of step back because you're not ready to hear what they have to say. So trust what comes through and integrate it into your life or your decisions. Okay, I want to share that story at the end. I had to write it down because there's a lot of moving parts to this story. So earlier this year, back in January, it's been almost 1 year since this happened. I was thinking of replacing my 2013 Volkswagen Jetta. It had 310,000 kilometers. I believe that's just under 200,000 miles. We travel a lot. We put a lot of kilometers on our vehicles. It was getting up there where things are going to start to go wrong. Now, I've always wanted a Subaru, a small SUV, and I think I was leaning more towards the Forester. I had been wanting one of these for a couple years. Our neighbors also had just bought one, and I was able to go check it out and look inside, and I was just like, oh man, I really want one of these vehicles. And I'll state, before this, I wasn't really looking for one. It wasn't really on the radar. It was just like something maybe Jeff and I would talk about every once in a while in the vehicle, is like, we should update my car. You should start thinking about this. What do you want? And yeah, just some small conversations. So I'm at work. I think it's like a Monday. Jeff sends me a message and he said, I found a Subaru Forester on Facebook. And he's like, here's the link. What do you think? Right away, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm in the market for this, Jeff. I'm at work the next 2 days. I work till 8 p.m. So if you want to go test drive it, you can go test drive it. Let me know what you think. But I don't really know if I want to spend a bunch of money. And also I should add in here, Jeff and I have like a cash rule. If we cannot purchase something outright with cash, either through cash or e-transfer, then we usually wait till we can save up to buy it. The only thing that doesn't apply to this would be a house, obviously with a mortgage. But generally, like a new vehicle, we want to be able to purchase it without having to get a loan. We try to live with minimal loans and minimal debt. I was like, I do not have the money to buy this. So anyways, I work the 2 days. Jeff goes and test drives it. And he's like, yeah, I think you should go drive it yourself. I don't know if this is what you want. He just wasn't sold on it as a brand and a style of a vehicle. So I was like, fair enough. I'll just keep driving my car. Later that night, we were watching TV and I'm scrolling on Facebook just to see, are there any other ones out? What are the different models? What are the different prices? And I find one that's a little bit higher in price, has less kilometers, but it has a sunroof, and that is like on my list of what I like on my vehicles. I like to have a sunroof. I know it sounds like crazy, but I don't know. If you're a sunroof girl, you know what I'm talking about. I messaged them and I'm gonna go test drive this, but I still don't know if this is what I should be doing. Like, I'm really on the fence. I don't know if I want a loan. I obviously cannot buy this outright. This is quite a bit of money, and I just don't feel convinced that I want monthly payments. I asked Jeff what I should do, and he's like, I'm not making the decision for you. This is your vehicle. I'm good with whatever you decide. But he makes this kind of like smart ass comment to me, and he says, why don't you ask Spirit? and I think him and I had been talking about intuition, spirit guides, things like that. To Jeff, Spirit encapsulates like spirit team, spirit guides, spirit and mediumship reading, like everything spiritual is labeled as spirit. So he's like, why don't you see what they think? And I couldn't tell honestly if he was being sarcastic or serious, but I just was like, good choice. I'm going to do that. Let's see what they say. Give me like 20 minutes. So I go upstairs, light a candle in my office, put on some meditation music, and I just kind of sat with the question inside. What I asked was, why is this such a hard decision? It wasn't like, tell me yes or no, but why am I struggling with this decision? And I don't, like I've said before, I don't ask yes or no, but I want bigger perspective on a certain situation that I'm struggling with at the time. And I very much had money blockages, which kind of came up. They asked me what I was scared of, and right away I was like, commitment to a payment. What if something comes up like an emergency and I need that money that I've taken from my savings and put into this vehicle? And it was very all like money scarcity mindset, different things, but it was all like very worst case type of stuff. And I was like creating these future situations, which I didn't even realize that I was doing. Once I fully acknowledged what my worry was, I was able to come up with a plan. Let's be realistic. Can I afford a monthly payment? Yes. If there was a money emergency, would we be able to get through it? Of course. So why am I stressing about that? Why am I creating these things? Would I be able to pay off my loan earlier if I wanted to? Yes, there's options with that as well, right? What I decided to do was I was going to take a chunk of my savings, not all of it, put it down on the vehicle. Then I put the remainder on a line of credit. And Jeff suggested the line of credit because he said you're not locked into a monthly payment. If your business, so I work a part-time casual job at the hospital, and I'm also a clothing reseller, and I have a YouTube channel, and that's like a whole another area of my life actually. And he was like, you have your reselling money coming through. If you have more money that month, put it onto the loan. And if something were to, we'll say like Christmas or a trip or something where you wanted to reallocate the money, he said, then you would just put less on the loan, pay the interest on that loan. When we sell your car, we'll also take that chunk and pay it off on the line of credit. And I was like, okay, well, I can do that. I can manage that. That seems much more digestible than what I was envisioning as a like whole ticket price. Once we came up with that plan, I was like, okay, we can do this. I can do this. Why was I so stressed about this? Why was I creating all these situations? And Jeff said, realistically, you'll probably be able to pay your vehicle off in 1 year. So he's like, I wouldn't stress about it. I'm happy you came around to that. And he said, I'm also happy you went to Spirit and asked for the advice, because he said, now you're looking at this much more realistically and reasonably rather than having all the fear base in it. And I was like, oh my gosh, who is this man? How is this my husband? So intuitive. I went ahead, I bought the vehicle. What I want to share with you is that all these limiting beliefs and all these things that were holding me back, I ended up paying off the vehicle in 3 months. So not even a year. Isn't that crazy? That's wild. All of these things that I was creating this situation that was holding me back, that I could never do this, I couldn't afford this, what if something were to happen? And I was able to pay it off in 3 months after purchasing it. I'm not saying that you can will away or imagine away problems or money issues, but sometimes when we look at things from a bigger perspective and we break down what are our fears, what are our limiting beliefs, and what are our blockages, we're able to make better decisions. And I'm going to thank my spirit team in this one, because if I wouldn't have gone to them and they wouldn't have been like, what are you scared of? Let's break this down. You have money issues. Let's remove these so that you can make a better decision. And I've applied this exact formula into so many other areas of my life. For that, I am forever grateful to my spirit team for helping me that day. And I think that this is a good example of how you can work with them in your life and gain those valuable lessons that you need to move through life and find your life's purpose and be on the right path. A lot of it is going into your own intuition, right? Trusting what comes through, looking at situations from a few steps back. And I think that's exactly what our spirit team and spirit guides are great at. They're helping us step back from a situation, have a better perspective, and to make better choices and better decisions. I hope this helps you. I hope that the information at the beginning gives you some tools for reaching out to your spirit guides or your spirit team, making those connections, developing a relationship, and hopefully integrating and working with them in your own life. But yeah, that's all I got today. I hope this episode helps you on your journey. I have found this information so crucial in my own life, and it's just like, yeah, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about actually, is mediumship and spirit guides, because I think both are just a huge part of my own life. On that note, I'm gonna head out of here. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel or podcast, please do so now. Hit like, leave a comment. I like to hear from you guys. If you have any crazy stories about your spirit guides or things that you've been able to do in your life with the assistance of your spirit team, please let us know. Drop it in the comments. I love to read everyone's magical stories, and yeah, we're just going to share and walk this path of finding spirit together. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.